You've probably heard the term business intelligence, or BI, tossed around in meetings. It sounds big, complex, maybe even a little intimidating. But what if I told you it's actually a pretty straightforward idea, and a really powerful one at that? So today, let's pull back the curtain and demystify it together.
To get started, let's imagine you run a lemonade stand. But you're not just any lemonade vendor, you're a tech-savvy one. For years, you've been collecting all kinds of data: your daily sales, who your best customers are, when you need to re-up on sugar and lemons. You've got everything.
Okay, so all that data is just sitting there, probably scattered across a bunch of spreadsheets and notes. The million-dollar question is, how do you actually turn all those numbers into something useful? Something that helps you make smarter decisions. And maybe, just maybe, grow that lemonade stand into a global empire. Well, that's exactly the problem business intelligence is designed to solve. All right, so let's get down to it. What is business intelligence really? And I promise you don't need a trench coat or any kind of secret clearance to get this.
Here's the textbook definition, but let's break it down. At its heart, BI is all about getting insights that are four things. They have to be timely, accurate, high value, and actionable. But it's not just that final aha moment. It's also the entire system behind it, all the processes and the technology you use to get to that insight in the first place. So, if that definition is pretty clear, why does the term itself seem so confusing? Well, it's not the business part that trips people up. It's that word intelligence.
I mean, that word comes with a lot of baggage, right? It makes you think of spies, secret agencies, something you'd see in a movie. It just feels complicated and out of reach, which is really the total opposite of what good BI is supposed to be. So let's try a little reframing. Let's just ditch the word intelligence for a second and swap in a much better one. Insights. An insight isn't vague or overwhelming. It's that sudden moment of clarity. It's the aha moment when the data suddenly points to a clear path forward. It's something you can actually understand and use. So, to make sure we're getting to a real aha moment, any good business insight has to have four specific qualities. Think of them as BI's big four. First up, and this one's a deal breaker, the information has to be accurate. If your data is off, everything that comes after it is going to be off too. Simple as that.
You know the old saying, GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. It couldn't be more true here. If your data is junk, your insights will be junk, and any decisions you make based on them could actually do more harm than good. Accuracy is the foundation of trust. Without it, you've got nothing.
All right, on to quality number 2. An insight has to be valuable. And what that really means is it has to tell you something you don't already know. It can't just be obvious.
I love this example. So a store figures out that people who buy peanut butter also tend to buy jelly. I mean, duh, right? That's accurate, sure, but it's not valuable information. A valuable insight is something that uncovers a hidden pattern, a way to cut costs, or a new way to boost sales.
Third, the insight has got to be on time. An absolutely brilliant discovery that shows up a week too late, it's completely worthless. Timing is just as critical as the information itself.
This is such a great way to think about it. The spirit of the staircase. That feeling when you think of the perfect, witty comeback, but you're already on your way out the door. In business, that's a lost opportunity. BI needs to give you the info right when you're making the call, not long after the party's over.
And that brings us to our fourth and final quality, which is arguably the most important one of all. The insight has to be actionable. You have to actually be able to do something with it.
Right? An insight telling you to hope your competitor fails isn't helpful. What are you supposed to do with that? An insight is completely useless if it points to something that's impossible. A truly actionable insight leads to a real plan, like changing a price, bundling products, or launching a new marketing campaign. So, we have our 4 qualities of a great insight. But here's the thing. BI isn't a one-and-done report that you print out and forget. It's a living, breathing process. It's a cycle of continuous improvement. And that cycle is a really powerful 4-step loop. You start by gathering data from all your operations. Next, you use that data to make a decision and take action. After you act, you have to measure the results. And then, and this is the magic part, you learn from those results, and you feed that new knowledge right back into the beginning of the next cycle. And here's where it all comes together. It's a loop that never stops. The results from one decision literally become the data for the next one. This is how a company learns. It's how it adapts and gets smarter and smarter over time. It's a dynamic and really a rational way to run a business. But you know what? There is one more piece to this puzzle. And you could argue it's the most important piece of all. Because BI isn't just about software or servers or algorithms. At the end of the day, it's about people. See, for BI to really work, it needs what you might call a split personality. It demands a real, dedicated partnership between the two sides of the company. The business side, the managers who actually make the decisions, and the technology side, the people who provide the data and the tools. To make this work, you have to build what's called a culture of inquiry. That means your business managers have to be committed to making decisions based on data and not just their gut. It means your IT department has to be ready and willing to support that culture. And crucially, it means you need leaders at every level who aren't afraid to ask tough, curious questions. And that right there is the big takeaway. You can install all the fancy software in the world, but it won't make a difference on its own. Business intelligence is a cultural commitment. It's a shared belief in using data to make better decisions. And that belief has to be supported by everyone, from the CEO all the way down. Which really just leaves us with one final question. Now that you see BI is really about getting clear insights, building a continuous learning process, and fostering a curious culture, are you BI curious?